Moose here, and this is a Trev guide you've been looking for. I'm glad they finally added Trevenant to the game. We really need another defender to shake things up. This is a joke, by the way, he's been in the game for a while. The update just really helped him out. This guide will assume you have an understanding of Unite as a whole, the implications of held items, and basis of how competitive teams function. We'll be going over every minute detail in Trev's kit, including his most impactful held items, battle items, and matchup chart for details and characters you shut down the most, in case you want to watch that far, but you don't have to. There is a couple things in Trev's kit that people don't think about, one of them being that his alt actually gives him a buff to all the healing he gets, so stuff like Potion will heal 50% more. There's a lot of details that you have to consider when you're playing characters that many people might not be taking full advantage of, so we'll be going over all that. Basically, Trevenant is a defender. He's kind of like a drain tank a little bit. He'll deal damage, you heal back, he'll deal damage, you heal back. It kind of goes on back and forth. He has a little bit of trouble with ranged characters. Obviously, he's a melee character. Most melee characters will have trouble with ranged characters who are really good at cutting, like Cinderace, Greninja. But all in all, I think he's a really strong and fundamental character. His passive is really good. You could tell when it's up because he'll have a little green line on his HP bar. It's a 100-second cooldown, which is it's a really long time for a passive, but it does have a good effect. So starting at level 1, it'll heal you for 16% of your max life using this equation here found in PokemonUnite.db. For every additional level past 1, it'll heal for about 1.5% more max life. So if you consider that, if you're at max level, let's say level 15, it'll heal for about like 31% of your max health from just your passive. That's not too bad. It's over a pretty quick period of time too, I think. It's like 4 seconds and heals you 8 times, so it's not too bad of a passive, you know. He has a lot of sustain in his kit. You combine it with like Focus Band, Potion, combined with his alt, which could increase his passive healing. He's got a lot of health that he can get in his kit. He can heal up to like 50% just from his passive after alting. Speaking of healing, his basic attack is really good. Lots of the time you don't even have to grab berries in lane because you can just beat up a minion and each boosted auto will heal 5% of your max health. That's a really good boosted auto. Not to mention it also reduces the cooldown of your moves, which those heal you. Some do damage to you, but they heal you. And he doesn't have that bad of a time clearing. His autos hit pretty dang hard. Boosted auto is 130% of attack. That's not too bad, especially if you run like attack weight or something. He's not got bad scaling, but the stats are maybe more so where he's lacking for a defender. But that's not bad. He's got great defense and special defense. We'll go over the exact details later for those. First move, Willow Wisp. Important to note that it also reduces enemy attack and special attack by 5%. Not many people really consider that aspect when they're going in for a fight. It's not exactly 5% reduction of damage because there's flat damage scaling. So say if reduce enemy attack and special attack by 5%, that'll only be one part of the equation, for example. So it's not exactly 5%, but on some characters that have really high base attack or if they're stacking, that you'll see that effect of reduced damage more. Although in the future moves they kind of get rid of that part, sadly. It'd be really cool if they did go with that, but his kit is kind of based around Drain Tank anyways. So it does, honestly, really good damage. You'll be using this before level 5. As you see, damage. It can hit up to 3 times with all 3 ticks, though it can be hard to land all 3 ticks. You can usually land 2 ticks of it. Each tick after the first will deal 50% damage. So you could be looking at like, let's say before he gets 5, where he evolves and gets his first move, probably looking at like 328 times 0.5. That's like 480 or so. And you combine it with all the ticks. It's not bad. It's like 600, 640 or so. It's really not bad damage, and it's good for last hitting because it has so much initial damage. Plus, it can double hit or triple hit, so it's really good at smiting minions. And you don't really have to worry about being that close to minions because you're so tanky. And if people jump on top of you and fight you, you usually win. Now, Woodhammer and Curse, I love both of these moves. Both of these moves are great. They've really buffed Curse because it does less self-damage to you. That's huge. You really needed that. Curse has insane scaling, 41% attack, plus 100. Don't really care about the level part. That one doesn't really add much to the equation. But just a 41% times 12. Oh, that's great. Take example level 5. That's like already 1.4k damage. Now you can say, oh, you gotta be on top of them to do that. It's not hard to be on top of people because your kit has a good movement with your other move. Branch Poke is just a quick little dash, and you have that before 7. Horn Leech is where you really come online if you're going for that set. Horn Leech is fantastic. So it's not hard to stay on to somebody. It's more hard to get to them is the issue. But you can use bushes, you can use ally CC to get on top of people. It's not hard. There's some insane games you can get with Trevenant where you're just face tanking 3 people. It's not always going to happen, but some teams will allow you to just run rampant. You can use those Unstoppable in this kit to really dodge CC and mitigate CC. Now, the set I would recommend is probably Curse Horn Leech. That's what I see all the Trevenants run when they're going for the big damage. You can Horn Leech, pop Curse for first, Horn Leech, and then activate your Curse, and then pop Horn Leech again, and it's almost a true combo. There's a very little window of time where they could like eject button out. But for any characters that don't have eject button on, you know, people aren't running eject button as much. They might be running X attack, X speed, slow smoke, is a lot, full heal. Well, full heal will get them out, but you get the point. Woodhammer, though, I think it's really strong in team fight situations specifically. If you're going for like a team fight comp, I'd probably recommend Woodhammer. It has a really wide attack range. It'll pull the enemies to the middle for the first hit. The second hit will just stun everybody. It's a really big area. It does use a lot of his HP though. I think that's the issue. Plus the scaling's not as good as Curse, but it is more upfront damage. So there's that. Plus you can always consider that, you know, if you're auto attacking with the boosted autos, you're going to reduce your cooldown anyways. So the longer cooldown doesn't feel as bad if you're constantly in a fight. Plus, the level 11 version is not something people talk about. Reducing damage by 20% is not reducing attack. It's reducing damage by 20%. That's really good. That can really shut down a lot of characters. Like Greninja, if he does 20% less damage after ulting, that's crazy. If you hit like 2 to 3 people with his Woodhammer Plus, that will probably win you the fight on its own. Like that's an insane level 11 part. If it was like 5-10%, it's like 20%, it's a really big damage reduction. Combine that with like his ult, and he's really crazy, honestly. But I'd probably recommend Curse for more solo queue play. A Woodhammer would be for like teams where you synergize with your CC together and do long CC change. Also, the lower his HP is, the longer the stun lasts, so you really should be considering that. And I think it lasts for up to 1.2 seconds, so it starts at 1.6 seconds for the second hit and 0.5 for the first. And it seems like that goes up to double. I know this doesn't exactly say it, but for my testing, it seems like it's incremental to your HP. So if you're missing 90% health, it'll last 90% longer, if that makes sense. So it could be up to 1 second CC to 1.2 second CC, which can make potentially Woodhammer combo into itself when you're really low health. Though, you know, you're really low health, so you gotta do that, take that into consideration. But I'd probably recommend Curse more for more general use. But definitely give Woodhammer a try. It's a lot of fun grouping up like 2 to 3 people and having like a Pikachu just dumpster everybody. It is so enjoyable. Plus it doesn't hit as hard as Curse, but it does good flat damage. That's something to always look into. Branch Poke is your other ability, your move 2. It's not bad. It decreases movement speed, it heals you for 9% max health. It does decent damage before you really get it. Level 1 to level 7 is when you'd upgrade it, so level 1 to 6. This is not too bad, you know. It's like 70 damage increase. It's just more about the slow and the heal more so. When you combine it with his passive, he can get it in and then heal 5% life, get his passive, get 9% healing from Branch Poke or Horn Leech. Something that he's got, which he has really good base HP, up to 9.6k. Not as much as Snorlax, but with all the healing he gets, he feels like he has got a billion health. Plus, the up to, maybe let's just say level 9, like 270 health. That gives him about 50% more effective HP, technically like 48%. So that's like 8,000. at level 9, which is, you know, pretty average level mid-game. That's really good. So I've really done a lot of testing with Pain Split, using it on tanks, using it on ADCs in practice mode, just going through it, being low health, being high health. It's really too inconsistent to really run. When you also compare it to Horn Leech, that's like, why would you ever take Pain Split? It can do good damage, don't get me wrong, when you finally get at level 7. It's not bad damage, and he heals for a good chunk of the damage, but people can break it, you know, get out of range. People could just kill you anyways. It's better to have this massive health that's consistent from Horn Leech than to go with the damage from Pain Split. So I'm not going to be talking too much about Pain Split since I don't think it's as good. So there is always a situation, you know, if they buff it again, maybe if they give it like 200% health and damage, maybe then it'll be considered. But it's just not enough right now to be viable over Horn Leech, which gives you Unstoppable, and you combine that with Curse, it'll reset the Horn Leech, so you can Horn Leech again. After the move lands, Trevenant's next freezer basic attacks deal more damage and reduce the move's cooldown, so he can get that cooldown back really fast. Combine that with his passive, which also reduces the cooldown of moves by 0.5% on normal and basic attacks and boosted attacks. He will be getting his cooldown back fast, especially with Muscle Band 2 increasing attack speed. You'll be getting this really quickly, and it does pretty good damage. It's 2 hits of 319, maybe level 5, 300. That's like 600. Do bonus damage with the bonus autos after hitting, so bonus damage as well after using the autos. It's really good. Like, it's super strong. And plus, the plus version gives him movement speed, which Trevenant loves movement speed. Give him movement speed. Maybe Floatstone in the future if they ever buff it to be more universally used instead of just outside of combat. He would be a menace. His ult. Now his ult can hit up to the whole enemy team, and each person he hits gives him more shields. So let's say at level 9, each enemy you hit will give you 690 shield per person hit. That's up to 3,000 extra health just on its shield alone. Really good base damage. You know, just big AoE ult, kind of like a Alolan, but doesn't have that as much damage, but does have more utility, and it marks enemies. So any ally that basic attacks them, they're going to be taking more damage. Now it lasts for 6 seconds. That's a really long time for an effect that strong, where they're taking all this extra damage. Sadly, it does not scale with attacks, so stuff like attack weight doesn't affect it. It's only based on level. And it doesn't change too much from when you get at level 9 to 15. That's not really 50 damage. I mean, it's good, don't get me wrong. Decidueye makes a lot of good work with it, though I think only one of his ticks of his auto actually affects the marked bonus. I could be wrong. Charizard, I think, actually can get the marked bonus multiple times in one auto, which is, you know, if you want to do Trevenant Charizard on the same team, maybe Charizard Jungle, that could be a lot of fun, abusing his mechanic of marked bonus. But the part to really consider is that he gets more healing while he's shielded. Now, the issue with that is the shield might not last too long because of people trying to murder him. But if you have a Trevenant who's got this thick chunk of shield, you're probably going to try and avoid him and just attack, you know, everybody else. So if you're maybe like, say, 30% health, and then you use the ult and then potion afterwards, make sure you potion after you popping ult, you're already back to like 65% because of the 50% bonus. Then you combine it with like Horn Leech, where you're healing more for your wherever you are on health. It'll do like 3 ticks of healing. Man, it is insane how much health you can get with this character. You don't even need a support. You are the support. You are the defender. Though, we always love a Blissey on the team. These are the most important levels for Trevenant. Obviously, it's going to be level 4. It's going to be level 5, 7, and 9. 4 because... Actually, no, I'm probably wrong on that. What am I talking about? I'm used to saying 4 because I play a lot of supports. I apologize. 5, 7, and 9. Super simple character. 5 is when you finally evolve, get your first move, get 5% cooldown. 7 for your second ability. 9 for the ult, and then your last 5% cooldown, which is very nice. He gets a nice chunk of health from his evolution too, so, and a little 20 20 base attack, so it's really good. Nice defense bump and nice special defense bump, so definitely consider fighting once you are indeed Trevenant. That's definitely your time to start destroying people with Curse, because Curse will also reset Branch Poke, so you can kind of use it the same way you would with Horn Leech, where you Branch Poke, have Curse going, Curse, and then Branch Poke again. But that's all for the character itself. We're going to be going into let's do the held items first. So of course, any special attack items are going to be Azumarill tier. Trash. Don't get me wrong, I love Azumarill, but he's just not seeing any play right now. Technically, you can run Scope Lens and Leftovers on him. Maybe if they change Leftovers in the future, it'd be up here. Because with more healing, he could, every bit of healing he gets from different moves, broken. Maybe they change Shell Bell in the future, give it work more for regular attackers too, broken. But right now, this is how I think it is. Situationally good. You can make an argument for Floatstone nowadays. I think people have got past the point where they consider it a meme and are more like, okay, you can use it for rotations. You're usually auto-attacking as Trevenant to gain health between, camps and stuff. So it's a bit difficult to say Floatstone, but it still gives you a lot of movement speed that you can use to get into position as Trevenant. And once he's in position, it's go time. So I can see an argument for Floatstone. It's also not bad base movement speed. It's only like 2% more speed, but every bit counts. You always have to consider that. Razor Claws technically sometime could be viable because of the slow it applies, not for the damage. Although it does okay damage for him. It's just not too bad. It's like 40% of Lucario's basic, Razor Claw procs. But hey, look. It's not bad. The slow is good. If you slow people, you can stick to them better. Just always remember that if you want to try it, go ahead and try it and see how it feels. More slows equals more team fight potential. Rocky Helmet, we've really tested this item with a bunch of people. We've tried like Lucario power punching to Trevenant, so it does have 10% life. It just doesn't seem like it's consistent. It seems like it's such a small area. Doesn't always proc. I don't know. I can never recommend this item, seriously. I'm sorry to all the Rocky Helmet believers. I want to use Rocky Helmet. It'd be a lot of fun with all the healing he gets and how much health he has. But as it is, for it to proc, you have to take a certain amount of damage in a single attack, not like, over time. A single attack. Not good. Assault Vest. If you know the matchup, usually I think I see Trevenant top lane. I've seen Trevenant jungle, which I thought was stupid, but it actually worked out really well. Trevenant was top damage, kills, damage taken, healing. Like getting Trevenant 2-7 as soon as possible, and then Trevenant just running through a team, actually not too bad. But Assault Vest, you're going to see Trevenant in the top lane, so Assault Vest is actually not too bad. If you're going to run into like a Lucario team, if you're going to play in tourney, don't take Assault Vest. It's not as good. But Assault Vest gives a really good chunk of shield. I think it has a cooldown of like 8 seconds to refresh outside of fighting. So it's not like, 100 years. It's a good item. It's good, and people don't really consider it that much. But just absorbing a bunch of damage before your health isn't bad. It's just more health. EXP share, I'm sure somewhere down the world we're going to see an EXP share Trevenant just support somebody else. It's probably not as viable on him. I think Trevenant could be played solo to a degree. He's got really good last hit potential, but against someone like Blue Dog, it's really hard to really last it against him. So, but I could see EXP share with, I don't know, maybe Greninja top lane too someday. So it's just anybody, Sylveon. But we'll see how the meta evolves with the people still figuring out the Trevenant buffs. And strong items on him. Score Shield, even past the Score Shield nerf, it's still a nice item, It's not going to be as strong as it used to be, but just for making sure you get that 20 in, in the mid game, just making sure you can build your ult back, getting stacks for any reason if you're stacking anything. It's still a good item. People are thinking it's like trash tier now. No, it's still good. You're probably not going to be able to run it on like Greninja now, like how you used to just be able to abuse it on people who have a lot of mobility, but it's still good. Ales Cookie. With how much he heals, Ales Cookie is not garbage. Now don't get me wrong, you have to stack it for it to be actually seen as noticeable. But I've had some situations where I just tried out Ales Cookie, and I would just get like 5 stacks in the early game because we'd win a fight right away. Because the enemy would underestimate Trevenant. You just hide in the bush. If they go for the middle crab, you jump them. It's easy as that. Seriously. You know, if you fight like a squishy top lane, you'll probably end up killing them, and they won't really expect to be taking so much damage. So then you can just multi-stack the cookie, and then you're basically unkillable for a little while. If you add, it's 1200 more health at max stacks. Maybe if you get it by like level 10, level 11, you're seeing about up to like 8,000 health. That's really good. And with all the healing he has, God. Don't let it be you if you let a Trevenant fully stack and he's running Ales Cookie. You're not gonna have a fun time. Even Cinderace has trouble dealing with that much health and healing. Weakness Policy. I do like Weakness Policy a lot. It's a lot of fun on them. It's not insane as I think as every other item, but if they ever do buff it or change it down the road, I could see Weakness Policy being more of an item. I totally recommend just running like these 3 core or 4 core items, but somewhere down the line Weakness Policy could be good. But situationally dealing more damage, it doesn't really give you more healing because his healing is based on percent health, which it does give a little bit of flat health, don't get me wrong, but you know, he's not really known to just be the one like Lucario pumping out damage, you know, like healing off of your attack stat. He heals off his HP stat, so it's not as good as people have thought. But I've seen people run it and like it. You can make anything work really in this game. You could run Shell Bell, you could run all of these items and technically make it work. You know, don't get me wrong. Now, Energy Amp. Energy Amp Trevenant is actually a little scary. Because once he pops Energy Amp, it gives him a little bit extra cooldown. His combo of Horn Leech, Curse, Horn Leech. After ulting, after hitting somebody with an ult, can 100 to 0 an equal level Cinderace, who doesn't have shields, and so, you know, Buddy Barrier nerf. And charging his ult faster is really good. So there's some merit to running Energy Amp right now. And I'm experimenting with that and Ales Cookie and trying to find what sets I like, you know, with what lane partners. For example, I'll go more tanky if I'm going to be running with like a squishy ADC. I'll run more damage if I'm going with a bruiser like Serena or something. You know, it makes sense how you want to build your character. You're going to support your teammate, so go with something that would make your teammate allow your teammate to do more things. Usually HP is good on him though. If you don't know, just get HP. At the Buddy Barrier nerfs is not always up here, but it's still an S tier item. Don't listen to people. 25% of Pokemon slack max life, plus still has good plus 450 base. It's still a good item. Don't let anybody tell you this item sucks. It doesn't stack infinitely with everybody other's alts Buddy Barriers. It's 25%, and it'll refresh that 25% if you take a little bit of damage of somebody else alts. But still saving a teammate with Buddy Barrier and alting, giving yourself another 25% shield to let your passive go proc more with the Phantom Forest, since while shielded, your HP recovery effects are increased, so you'll maintain that shield a lot longer, so you'll be able to have a more consistent way to heal. But if you want to go more of a cool route, you'd probably use these 3 items here. Oh god. Attack Weight, Focus Band, Muscle Band. These 3 I feel like are a really strong core for Trevenant. He does not have problem with stacking, and his scaling is not bad, but his base stats are bad, so attack weight super improves on that if you get a bunch of stacks. You combine it with Focus Band. Obviously Focus Band is good if you have Focus Band and your main passive up, and Potion. Make sure you have like 3 HP bars. It pisses people off. I think in part of the video that I'm going to be showing you somewhere along the line, I had everything up, and Cinderace hit me for like 20 seconds, and I just didn't die. You know, I actually ended up killing her too. It was kind of dumb. Lots of the time I'm just trolling in the video, but I'm trying to take it partly serious. Muscle Band. Of course, everyone knows Muscle Band. You auto-attacking a lot as Trevenant. Give him more base attack speed to get his basic attack boosted autos out faster to reduce cooldowns. Plus, it has really good damage. Helps him with objective clearing too. So I definitely recommend Attack Weight Focus Band, Muscle Band for the main set for Trevenant. If you're going for the Curse Horn Leech set, if you're going for the Hammer set, you could probably take out Attack Weight for Buddy Barrier, or take out Attack Weight for Energy Amp or Cookie. Because Hammer needs a little bit of cooldown, so it would appreciate the Energy Amp, and charging your Night move is faster. It's not bad. So we're gonna go straight to battle items now. I think Potion is godly with Trevenant. With all the healing he has, and how short his cooldowns are, honestly, they're really short. Having Potion get you another rotation of your cooldowns back is really good, especially since like Horn Leech would heal you more for how much less health you have. As you see, it heal for 3 ticks of your 18% max life, and you combine that with Potion being able to let you get another Horn Leech off at low health, you'll get another HP bar. It's not hard. So, and Potion's like what, 25 second, 30 second cooldown? I don't remember exactly. That's nothing. If you're auto attacking minions and using Potion off your cooldown, or saving it for a fight that you know is about to break out in a couple seconds, you don't even need to grab berries. Your lane partner can grab all the berries. But if you don't like Potion, you don't think it's good for whatever reason, I'd recommend giving it like at least 10 games. You'll get the feel for Potion. If not, X-Speed is good on them just to catch people. Slow Smoke to slow a bunch of people, to Woodhammer them. So if you're going Woodhammer, I'd probably put this right before X-Speed. Just if you slow them and then group them all up with the Woodhammer and keep them all slowed in the Slow Smoke, that pisses people off. But if you're going not the Woodhammer set, then probably looks more like this. Full heal is good on them. It's good on everybody. If you could just time it to, I don't know, stop a Serena alt or stop a Charizard alt. Full heal always has merit, but you have some unstoppable in your kit with Horn Leech, so you don't really have to take full heal. You could just time a Horn Leech dash and be pretty good. Then A tiers, X attack. I mean, he doesn't really do damage. It's not meant for the damage. Maybe it would be for the auto attack speed, just to get more resets. But you're not really gonna use X attack unless you're a Chad. Unless you're a Chad gamer. Fluffy Tail. He doesn't have bad time to kill mobs. It's not like Slowbro or something where it feels dreadful to get mobs even with some damaging items. So he doesn't really need Fluffy Tail. Eject Button. I don't think he needs Eject Button. It's a long cooldown when you compare it to Potion, who just tank more. Your Eject Button like Horn Leech on 3 people is cool, but you only hit that every so often. So I wouldn't rely on hitting something crazy with Eject Button. The best use for it is probably jumping over a wall and doubling the Eject Button's distance, and then like going off like that with an alt. But I'd just go Potion. It's better. And Goal Getter too. Like, you don't need to go that. You just go Potion. You have plenty of sustain, and it's not hard to get scores as Trevenant because you're always gonna bully people out of the lane. You have so much healing, and you're gonna be team fighting a lot, so you don't have trouble scoring. Now, my favorite part about always doing these is the matchup chart. What I think Trevenant's kit brings to the table and who he counters the most. Starting from the bottom, obviously it's going to be the hard to engage tier with Cinderace, Greninja, Talonflame, Eldegoss. These I found a lot of trouble to engage. They all have a lot of dashes, mobility, Water Shuriken, Surf both gives you a bunch of speed apart from the Smoke Screen, Double Team, Fly. These characters are the more annoying ones to go against, and you will see them pretty commonly. These are all really common characters. Maybe Eldegoss might be dropping off a little bit for Blissey, but Leaf Tornado really, you don't like to see a Leaf Tornado Eldegoss. It really makes it harder to catch everybody. So if you see an Eldegoss, just know you have to play around their Leaf Tornado a bit, even though it's low cooldown. It is what it is. Now neutral tier, I think you do good against these, but there's some things that might make it hard to really dictate how good it is against them. Like Hoopa, he's just got a lot of speed running towards this portal, or just bring a bunch of allies to fight you. It's neutral. He's not really the one you're fighting. You're fighting Hoopa's team. Blissey Safeguard, you don't like to see it because you can't CC combo someone as easily, or just Blissey healing somebody a dick ton, giving them like 18 HP bars. But you don't, it's not Blissey you're fighting, it's Blissey's teammates, same as Hoopa. You're fighting their team, but they're just making their team fight you. So I think these are neutral. Sylveon got some mobility, will usually outrange you a bit. Mystical Fire Dash, even though I don't really see Mystical Fire. I see Hyper Voice. Hyper Voice will still outrange you quite hard, it'll be hard to catch them. Duraludon doesn't have mobility, but they usually play pretty far back. Sometimes they'll run in and go for a crazy play with Dragon Pulse, but in that case, you'll pretty easily catch him. His passive, you gotta know, if he's got his passive up, you can't Horn Leech him for the knockup part. So he'll eat one combo, essentially. Decidueye, usually, I don't see Razor Leaf at all. I only see Spirit Shackle. The only time I see Razor Leaf is Blissey to support the Decidueye. But I've, with the recent play you've seen in tournaments, it's usually Spirit Shackle. They usually kill, like, just the other squishies, It makes sense, He's really strong in that aspect. Gardevoir usually will just stay at really, really far ranges and spam abilities, so it's hard to catch her. And Dragonite has some good mobility as well. Dragon Dance, Extreme Speed, though Extreme Speed has to be used on a target. He can use it on a minion to get out. So it's a little annoying to catch him, especially when Hyper Beam will hit you for so hard. And he might be able to smite you with Hyper Beam, so your passive doesn't really go off. Characters you're good against, Blastoise. And sometimes, he's got some unstoppables, but if you can get him in a CC chain, your team can usually wipe him. Though I think he deals more damage than you as a whole, so just consider if you're 1v1ing him, though you do have better sustain in a super long drawn out fight, If he does like his big combo with his All Surf, Hydro Pump, probably to be like 50% of your health, compared to one-shotting everybody else, but hey, look, Blastoise is Blastoise. I think Blastoise is probably one of the better defenders in the game. Pikachu, Cramorant, they don't have mobility. Technically, Pikachu has Volt Tackle, but that's not really mobility. That's like more of an attack. So once you get to them, they're gone. They're dead. They have less range than like a Gardevoir, for example. So it's easier to catch them than a Gardevoir. Slowbro, he's usually really close. Auto attack range isn't too far, so it's easy to start him in a CC chain. Same as Mr. Mime. Gradient's is annoying, but you do kind of slow him a bunch with the Covet changes. So it's not too bad. I haven't really seen Gradient since that change to Covet. Maybe some Belly Seed, but Bullet Seed, not Belly Seed. Snorlax. Also, if he jumps in, you can time the dash, the Horn Leech, to push him into your team before he can get his block up. So you kind of make Snorlax irrelevant. Now, characters you're good against. The simple way to put this here is anything that's melee based or super close range. Basically, Machamp, Charizard, short ranges. They've got some dashes and unstoppables, but once they run out of those, you can just get them into your team. Mamoswine, he doesn't have much mobility, so once he's caught, he's dead. Lucario, I know people probably won't like this placement of Lucario here, but I think with his kit as a whole, and how easy it is to dictate what a Lucario is going to do, because as long as you pay attention to what they're running, Power Punch, what after Power Punch he's going to close combat, after, they got like a flow chart. As a Lucario player myself, who I used to play Lucario mainly in Season 1, now I just play him for meme sets. Honestly, it's really straightforward how Lucario brain goes dumb. That's all I'm going to say. Aegislash, he's really scary now after the changes to his max HP damage, but as you're not fighting on your own, you're fighting with a team. So Aegislash has to go in to do his thing, and that's where you just kind of bully him and push him into your team. And if you catch him out in Sword Stance and the team uses like 2 to 3 moves on him, he's dead. Easy. So Just try and catch him when he's in sword stance. If you catch him in shield stance, he'll probably live because he's got massive defenses. Serena, melee character, will win a 1v1, but this isn't based on 1v1s. This is a team fight. So she's got to go in eventually, and you just bully her, same as Aegis Slash. Catch her when she's using anything, literally. She doesn't have any unstoppables in the kit apart from the alt. So better than Aegis Slash because he's at least got an unstoppable to try and outplay you. Wigglytuff, super easy. She runs in using Sing, you dash into her. Simple as that, keeps her off your whole team. Maybe she can eject button your dash, but well played, Wigglytuff. Azumarill, garbage character. I hate to say it, after they got rid of the Aqua Tail changes with stripping, like getting, going past defenses and shields, trash character. I'm sorry. So you shut down this character so hard, he doesn't really get enough sustain to fight you. I've won 1v1s against Azumarill, who even uses ult. It's really sad how stated the character is right now. I'm trying to find something that'll make it work for playing Azumarill, but it's really difficult. Most pro players I fight, or pro teams I fight, Azumarill just not. It sucks. Crustle, he's really straightforward again. If he goes in, you see him. It's hard to kill him if he ults. He's got 16 shield bars, but he's a lot weaker post the changes to Score Shield and Buddy Barrier. So he's not as frightening because now Score Shield applies first to shield, so he won't be able to soak up 4 teammates attacking him. He'll break his shield pretty easily. He can still go goal getter though and score a 30 pretty easily with ult. As with the movement speed and stuff. Gengar, depending on the set, if he goes Hex, you just time the invulnerability frames between each Hex and then just knock him out. Super easy. If he goes to more range build, that one's more annoying to fight. But he has to go in eventually. And if he does to sleep on you, he always has to go behind you. So just consider that. And you can sometimes just mash out the Horn Leech, and as soon as you wake up, before he gets off the second rotation of Shadow Ball, you'll just immediately start comboing him. So it's not too bad with fighting Gengar. His ult's, a long cooldown, so it's not something you gotta worry about too much. Ninetales, if they go Veil build, it is the funniest thing to push them out of Veil. I think it makes A9 players so sad. They Veil, they do the hop, and you just go, nope, you're not in your Veil anymore. Get pushed out. I think it's really funny. If they go with the Blizzard set, it's a little bit more annoying to catch them for sure. They're more like a +1 instead of +2. But I see Veil way more than I do Blizzard. So you just consider that. Make sure you push people outside of the Veil so they don't get the damage resist, because it's 30% or something. Or just wait the Veil out too, And that's another option. Melee Venusaur, of course. Everyone knows Venusaur is crazy in this game. I think you're really strong against him because he's gonna be at melee range, and then you could start comboing him and then have the team follow up. So you can kind of shut down Venusaur. He gets his damage resist from Giga Drain, but if you're CCing him, of course he can't Giga Drain, so he doesn't get that 35% damage resist or whatever it is, and then he'll feel a lot squishier. And especially if you get him before he can ult and go off. So definitely consider that when fighting Venusaur. Just try and catch him. Same as everybody else. TLDR. Strong characters that you counter. Garchomp. Absol. The amount of Absols that you just touch once and they die because someone else breathes on them. Or the Absol, as long as you know their kit, if you've played Absol before, you know how the feint works or Night Slash works. So you usually know how to outplay that. You know how they're going to approach a situation. It's really easy, just be in the way and make it so they have to go through you first. And if they go through you first, then you push them into the team. Or just push them into a wall, either way. Just annoy the Absol. If he ults, you can perfectly time a Horn Leech to hit him. So he can't even function, move out after he ults for a couple frames. If you time it to where you attack him during that time, you can actually punish him for ulting, which I think is really stupid. You shouldn't be punished for ulting, but That's a state Absol is in. After that, Garchomp. Garchomp, great character. You shut him down really hard. He's pretty lenient as well with how he goes in. Very straightforward, very flowcharty character. So you could just push him and keep him off the whole team, you know. It's similar to Wigglytuff. They're really simple. Absol is a little bit trickier to know when he's going to go in, but you shut down this character hard. So if you're having Garchomp troubles, just play Trevenant. You could just punch the Garchomp out too sometimes. He's got some good life steal, but you can kind of if you keep him CC'd for long enough, he loses his stacks. So that means he'll basically be irrelevant in the fight. He has to rebuild that up before he starts healing again and dealing % damage. But if he has stacks, then he can be a little scary, but you still CC him for way too long, you know? And then you can just outspace him before your next rotation of abilities, and he can't do anything. It's really sad being a Garchomp player. Overall though, the best notes I'd probably take away from this is to make sure you use his healing from his ult with Potion. If you're going to be running Potion, know that lots of his moves deal % damage to you, but heal you for % amounts. So if you're like not attacking an enemy player and you're just trying to heal, obviously don't use Curse. Just use Horn Leech or Branch Poke to heal off minions. Use your basic attacks outside of fights to heal. Use your Horn Leech to push mobs into your team side, so you can take their farm, kinda push Rotom away. Simple stuff, stuff you probably have already seen players do. But overall, hope you liked the guide. Build, once again, in case you missed it, attack, weight, focus, muscle is what I recommend more if you're going for the Curse set. If you're going for the Horde, the Hammer set, you probably go Buddy Barrier or Energy Amp instead of attack weight. Experiment with Cookie in place of maybe the attack weight too. See if you like that. More HP equals more time you're alive. But this damage you deal with Curse attack weight, give it a shot. I promise you won't be disappointed. Anyways, have a good one. Bye-bye.